just realized I don't have my glasses. There we go. Now I'm smart again. Alright. Now let's swap over to my messy station over here. I have been cleaning up minis and reorganizing. I got this little, well, actually, let me show you. Well, got this big thing, this big toolbox, and I have these little metal plates in here that my minis are magnetically stuck to. That music is unfortunately not working out. Unfortunately not working out. I tried to do some optimizations to VCV Rack and get the get it to work live. It's not working out. So let's go ahead and stop that. Start this. There's our normal stuff. Okay. I was experimenting a little bit with drums. Get some percussion in there. Kind of like it without it though, honestly. Like now just listening to that and this part here, kind of like it without the drums. So I did a poll on Instagram of what we should paint tonight. We were looking at painting Penelope or painting Big Shurg. Big Boy Shurg. And I agree with the poll. I think it'd be better to have Penelope ready for tomorrow rather than Big Boy Shurg. Although I think I may at least prime him. I also need to finish painting these little guys. So I'm probably going to do those first. But since I already have all of this stuff out, I have been magnetizing these minis. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish that up real quick before we hike over to the other stuff. Okay, so I have this stuff called Uncure, made by Bob's. This is the same guys that make the Instaset. That was dangerous. Oh, screw the lids on, John. Don't be lazy. And it eats away paint, unfortunately, but it eats super glue. So I like to drip it around the edge, and then normally I have to poke a little knife in there. Come on. Maybe I can loosen it from the other side. Nope. Let's try a thicker blade. Come on. You know you want to come off. Also, I've discovered recently that the list of people in chat on Twitch is apparently very unreliable, and a lot of times it'll show nobody's in there when there's actually a bunch of people in there. So I had been popping in there just to see who was in the chat, but I guess like there have been times when people have been in there and I haven't said anything because I didn't see them, or people were in there and left and I said hi after they were already gone. So if you're hanging out in chat, say hi, because I'd love to know that you're on and that you're watching, and I'd love to give you a shout out. This dang blasted necromancer. Ah, there we go. And of course it shattered. Well, that's what I get for putting too much super glue on these things. So I broke it a little bit. Oh well. What you gonna do? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fiddle with this a little bit. Fortunately, he's got like a big robe, and I just have it painted black on the underneath. So I'll probably just paint this black and call it a shadow. Sometimes you can save your paint job a little bit if you just dab it instead of wiping it, because this stuff will eat the fire out of paint. Alright, so let's rebase him. The reason I'm swapping these bases out, this is before I started magnetizing them. This is a flat bottom base. The ones that I use now have these little recessed bottoms where I can put a magnet in them. So let's get, oh fuck you, wanna clean it up a little bit. I like to clean the elephant's foot off of the top of these things before I base the mini on them. It's just a little bit, it's not too bad. I could probably try to figure it out in my slicer settings. But it's really not too bad. And I normally rough it up a little bit anyway on the top, just to get the super glue and the paint and stuff to stick, so it's not just like a shiny mirrored surface. Alright, now we'll take this guy. I'm gonna set him like, see? So it's like, that looks pretty gross, but like when it's like this, not too bad. Like it's kind of chipped there, but the glue is gonna fill that in, and I'm just gonna paint it black around the edge anyway. So it'll be fine. It's not a showpiece. It's just, we just want this table ready. So we'll dab a little bit there, a little bit there, and a big blob in the middle. I do like to file them down so that we have some flat points for them to be stabilized on. And when you rough up the PLA, it really gives that something to stick to. There we go. He's stuck to there already. Alright, let's grab our guy here. We'll grab a magnet. Check the polarity. Slap it down. Put a couple drops of Instaset on here. Big blob of super glue there. And we wait. How y'all doing? I'm having a pretty decent day. Yesterday was super crappy. Today was better, marginally better. But it'd be like that sometimes. Can't let the days get you down. I added a new thing that if you type emojis in chat, they pop up on the screen, just like any emojis. Let me test, make sure it's still working. Boom, there he is. The simple things in life. There we go. We've got a nice Kira Meg that's nice and flush. We'll put him over there. And then I wanted to put one on this guy here. This is not going to, like, normally I use these magnets to hold the mini in place on a, like one of those little wands over there. This is going to be just for like keeping it from wiggling around in storage. These larger minis are just way too heavy to stick on a rod, like one of these holding sticks. So my game got bumped up tomorrow instead of Thursday. It's nice that we're playing again. We had to take a break because of COVID, but we're going to be playing again. And I'm a little nervous about preparation just because I haven't had a ton of time to prepare for this game, and now I've got less time. But I think I know what's more or less what's going to be happening next. Nice. Can never get these things centered. There we go. Alright, let's clean this up a little bit. And let's get to painting. Let's put you away. Well, hello there, Danny. How are you doing this evening? Hey man, I just saw that that video you did on Instagram with the bass line. for man, what's the name of the song? It's the shot through the heart, but you're too late. Very, very well played, my friend. Very well played. We are going to be painting some minis tonight. We're going to be painting a little fairy girl. Yeah, that makes sense. Copyright be like that. That's why I create my own music. Like the one that we're listening to right now, as a matter of fact. Hey, you don't wanna spin up some tracks for me and for me to use on my streams, do you? Give me some cool synthwave chiptune stuff. Yeah, a lot of times, like, it's not even if you credit the artist, sometimes that like doesn't even matter. It's whether or not you are licensed to replay it. It's kind of the same thing why you can't like rent a video. Well, wow, this really takes me back. You used to be able to like rent a video from a video store, and like the reason that like the video stores, when they would buy a like a cassette tape, like a VCR tape or whatever, or like even a DVD to rent, each one of those discs would be like $200. Even though they're just renting them for, you know, $1 or something like that. Yeah, Movie Gallery and Blockbuster. Because it's the license to redistribute it, or the license to, you know, to display it elsewhere. And I found out that even if like the artist goes public and says, hey, you guys can use my music for whatever, apparently, like if their music is a part of like a mega conglomerate or something like that, like music licensing can have multiple owners who can like take copyright claims against stuff and whatnot. So like the artist might not even have full rights to give permission to do that, which is super bonkers and stupid, but that is the world that we live in. Alright, so let's paint these guys up real quick. This is our bear boy. And his hands are removable so that we can put these axe-wielding hands on them. So we're gonna paint these up real quick, and then we'll get to Penelope. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Our copyright laws are very much, like, I don't want to get all political or anything, but our copyright laws are very much capitalistic. They're good for the people that own stuff and not good for the average citizen. Like, it's wacky to me that Disney has made its livelihood animating stories that are in the public domain, and is now like claiming ownership of those public domain stories. Like they don't want their works to be in the public domain for people to benefit off of them, even though they like built their empire off of, that thing's way too frayed, off of stories that they didn't have to pay royalties for. And it's weird where it's like even to the point where I wouldn't be surprised that if someone was like if somebody made an Aladdin movie, even just the like the culture people would be like, ugh, people copying Disney movies. Oh man, the story of Aladdin has been around for hundreds of years. Hey, Brad Chan the fanboy. Welcome. Hey, you guys probably weren't on when I mentioned it earlier in the stream, but I've added a new thing that every time somebody posts an emoji, doesn't matter what it is, it shows up on the video. So if you want to give it a try, you're more than welcome. Will they do it? All you gotta do is chat it. Oh, there it is. Kappa, Kappa, Kappa. Right there. It's too funny. And whenever anybody subs, or, well, I can't do subs yet, but like when somebody follows or raids or hosts the channel, whatever, it does like a emoji explosion. Alright, so for this guy, what we're going to do, we're actually going to get rid of the highlight, because the highlight is actually in the wrong direction. I had the hands, like I just painted the zenithal highlight all weird. So we're just going to paint it black first. Get some black on here. Black on black on black on black. And then there is a metal technique that I have heard that I want to try. And what you do is you dry brush like a silvery color on top of just flat black, and it looks like an old iron, you know, like a pig iron or something like that. Man, I really hope this scares the crap out of Drew tomorrow. What you doing tonight, Brad? You still playing some Starbound? There we go. Put that one in front of the fan. Grab this other one, do him too. So we played some D&D yesterday. Can't believe it was just yesterday. We're going through our dungeon delve and coming right out at the end. Like yesterday's session was probably like the last true actual session. Next session is going to be a bit of an epilogue where we talk about what the characters have done in the future. Yeah, I'm the same way. I have a hard time watching something and doing something at the same time. It just grabs my focus too much. Well, I appreciate you watching. So we were playing the Dungeon Delve yesterday, and our party was on a boat that ended up, it looked like a fishing boat, ended up that some pirates had done away with the original crew, and we're now just using it to like smuggle essentially slaves. And they got into a combat scenario where there was a kraken that was demanding a sacrifice of some kind, and the pirates normally would come by there and sacrifice a few people, a few of their slaves for safe passage. And they took the opportunity to ambush them and stop the hostages, or like the slaves from being sacrificed, and got into a big old battle that took pretty much the whole session. It was like 2.5, 3 hours. And it was really long. It was really long, but it was really, really epic. In my opinion, I thought it was really epic. One of the players ended up dying. The captain, like the character, went down. He didn't have a lot of hit points. He went down and failed, like his turn came around, he failed 1 death save. The captain was in a really bad spot. She was doing quite horribly. And so she saw an opportunity and she took it, and she threatened to kill the character if they didn't disarm themselves, lay their weapons down, and surrender. And so she readied an action to attack him if anybody tried to attack her. And everybody was like looking at each other like, what do we do? What do we do? And then one of the players was like, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna shove her off the boat. I'm gonna do a shove attack. And he ran towards her, and as he was running towards her, she shoved her sword into the character's chest, and that's a melee attack within range. A melee attack to an unconscious creature is an auto crit, which is 2 death saves failed, and the character just died. Failed 3 death saves. It was really rough, man. That battle was like very, very back and forth too. There was a lot of, oh, this is going great, and then, oh no, we're in danger, and then, oh, this is going great again, and then, oh snap, one of our guys died. They eventually won and laid claim of the ship, but it's been a little rough not having that player character. What are you doing tonight, Danny? You got any fun plans? Dang it, my magnet came off. Maybe I can scooch it on there just really quick. Ah, I forgot you get up pretty early, don't you? Well, thanks for hanging out for as long as you do hang out. I appreciate it. You've never played D&D before, have you, Danny? I I know that you played like a Firefly game a while ago. Oh, nice. Just chill out a little bit before bed. Well, I hope my soothing music helps soothe you to sleep. Yeah, it's like a tabletop game. Do you know if it runs off of like the 5e system? Does it use like a D20? Like, does it use one of these dice? I know some of them are D6 based, and some of them are like D10 based. I gotcha. Who was leading the game? Like, who was GMing? Oh, nice. What kind of character did you play? I think Wash is probably my favorite character in Firefly. Not for obvious reasons, you know, having my namesake. Oh, nice. Got a new storyline all played up and everything, huh? Yeah. Jane's, I mean, honestly, all of the characters are there's not very many characters on there at all that are unlikable. You even have his hat. That's nice. You go and drink you some mother's milk. Man, I have not watched Firefly in forever. I mean, might as well. Now, Jane, man, talk about a character with a flaw. Characters with flaws are the best characters because it's like, man, you just offer Jane enough money and he hates it. He hates that he does it, but he's gonna do it. He's gonna take that money. Nice. When somebody is like, when a character is dependably unreliable, it's fantastic. All right. Let's get a little metal on here. Let's get some metal. Yeah, I love characters with flaws. They're so much more interesting than just heroic, always do what's right characters. Because they have room to grow. A character that already does everything that they know how to do is not interesting. All right, let's see how this works. I've never done this before. So we're gonna get a little gunmetal gray. We're gonna get it all over our brush, and then we're gonna like get it off. And we're just gonna dry brush this guy. Ooh, wow, this is really showing up the gross layer lines. I think I need a little bit wetter than that. It is pretty cool, like it's highlighting like right along there. And it does look like metal. Like it looks like cast iron. Like if you look at the dimples. Let me turn this light off. If you look at like the dimples in there, that's pretty rad. And that's just like black with some gunmetal dry brushed on it. Yeah, it looks good. It's holy cow, that's an easy effect too. I really dig the cast iron look too. Wow. That's pretty rad. Alright, I'm gonna do a little bit of... need to get like a little bit of tan. Something like this. So a little bit of tan. And we're gonna go around these wraps. Because it's like cord wrapped. And then once that dries, we'll put a little wash on it. Call it good. I will say I probably need to be a little bit more cautious with the dry brushing because I've got like little metal flakes over everything. Like I even got some on the brown there. I should probably like do that first and then base coat the other parts. But yeah, check that out. Turn this light off again. From that to that. It's pretty cool. You know, I was just thinking, I don't know hardly anything about Firefly lore. All I know is from what I've seen in the show. I don't know if I could run a D&D style campaign in a Firefly universe. I just don't know. I just don't know a lot about it. There we go. Let's put a little metal on it. Everything's better with a little metal, right? Oh, interesting. So you're like literally playing the episodes of the game? That's an interesting choice. Were your characters like characters from the show as well? Like were you like playing Jane and Wash and stuff? I don't know if I like that. Player agency and the ability to make choices and to go off the rails is one of the things that I really like about Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop games in general. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd be into that. Did you have to roleplay them at the same time? Did you get into arguments with yourself? Alright, that's it. Oh wait, no. Dang it. I needed to put a wash on it. Let's do Seraphim Sepia. That makes sense. If this dungeon delve that I'm wrapping up now is any consolation, it is definitely a lesson in going off of the rails and doing what you want. It's been fantastic. I don't know if you've been on the stream when I've talked about it, Danny, but like, just to give you like a brief summary of how crazy off the rails it's been. It was supposed to be the players were stranded on a desert island with a dungeon on it, and they have to like go down through 12 layers of the dungeon and then escape out into the Underdark, which is like a big subterranean country. Day one, they fall in love with the cages that they're in. Like they get dropped off on the island, locked up in cages. They don't have anything, you know, they're stripped of all their gear, and so they fall in love with these cages. So like, hey, these cages are all we have. Let's you know, make sure we use them. And then that turned into them goofing around and naming the cages Luke Cage and Nicolas Cage. And then that turned around into a very clutch moment where they were surrounded by goblins and hobgoblins, and one of the players, Brad actually, petitioned to an unknown god named Nicolas Cage, hoping that he was out there and could help them. And he rolled really well, and a superior being named Nicolas Cage came to their aid and helped them out, and they now formed a religion called Cageism. Yep. Oop. Kappa. So that's what the dungeon delve has been. And they made it 4 layers down into the dungeon, going down and back up and down and back up and down and back up and down and back up. And then eventually went all the way back up to the surface and surveyed for a passing by ship, rolled really good on their perception and actually saw one, and have hijacked the ship, which is the ship that they were on at the last episode last Monday, where it was full of pirates, and now they are trying to become pirates on the open sea. Like, that much off of the book. It's been that off the rails. Which is, there's absolutely zero problems with that, because this whole game was supposed to be an exercise in them being more creative, and not only that, but like them pushing me and testing me in my creativity. There have been straight up full episodes of this game that I have had to like improv on the spot, because of how crazy off the rails it is. They'll do things like, okay, next week, like there's this big manticore that they're trying to fight, or that's hunting them essentially. And we're like, all right, so next week you guys are probably going to fight the manticore. And they're like, yeah, next week we're probably going to fight the manticore. And then next week rolls around and they're like, nah, I think we're going to go out the other way. And I'm like, well, crap, I didn't prepare any of that. Okay, well, let's roll some dice and see what's over there. So it's been like really good for me too as a DM. All right, let's see what these things look like. Big boy bear. Hands detach. Big boy bear. Axes. Yeah, man. There actually were 2. There was a manticore and her mate, and his mate, and they successfully like snuck around them and stole all of their treasure and ran off before being discovered. Completely circumvented the manticore battle, and it was hunting them, and they cornered it, and like it was just brilliantly played on their side. Like they did really, really well. That one, does that need a little more? No, that's good. Leave well enough alone. All right. So we're done with him. He's all stuck and sticky. Now let's put this guy on a holder, and we're going to start to paint Penny. Penny, our little elf girl. Not elf, sorry, she used to play an elf. Penny, our little fairy girl. I like Penny. I think she's going to be a really great addition to the party. Oh, Danny, check this out. This guy's on my docket, too. He is an elephant monk. And I think he's awesome. All right, here's Penny. We need to come up with a color scheme for her. I don't know if Jordan ever gave me a color scheme for her. Penny knock knock knock. I do not get that reference. My sincerest apologies. I am going to fire up Discord here because I think she made her in Hero Forge. She may have painted her in Hero Forge too. That's... Oh, yeah. Man, I have not seen Big Bang Theory in a long time. Holy cow. That's a blast from the past. Alright. Feyre, there's Jordan. No. Unless this is truncating my messages. I don't think so. She sent me the file. No, I don't have it. Maybe she put it in the Lost Minds of Phandelver chat. There's that one. There's the file. No. Nope. I do not see it. Well, that's a boomer. Alright, well what I'm going to do is I'm going to ping her then. Hey, I need color schemes for Penny. And if I don't hear back from her, I'm just going to start painting. And if she says something later, we'll paint over it. I was thinking blonde hair and let's see, blonde and maybe like blue, maybe? Let's roll a d6. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. That's 6 colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Yep. Let's roll a d6. Orange. Let's try one more time. Just in case I really don't like that. Use it as a backup color. Green. Yellow and green, maybe? Orange and green, huh? I'm thinking blonde hair and orange plus green clothes. Let me know if you want her painted something different. Talking and typing is hard, y'all. All right. She's also a little iridescent. Let's put you away, D6. Paintbrush. Trusty and crusty. And let's do... yeah, let's do this for her hair. We need to thin that a little bit. Put a little bit of flow improver on here. Bonk. kind of like that. This is kind of like Dandelion. Let's get nice and close. We're all family here. We can get nice and close. Yellow, traditionally, coats very terribly. It covers very, very terribly. So you normally have to put it on in a couple coats. But fortunately, this one that I'm using is miniature paint, so it'll probably coat a little better. And I've thinned it so that it'll let the zenithal highlight through. Danny, if you guys ever fire up your Firefly, if you ever fire up your Firefly game again, I would love to print and paint you guys some minis. I'd love to take my hand, take my hand. I was trying to say try my hand and take a crack. I'd love to try out painting like a modern style rather than a fantasy style. I'm going to say she's probably fair-skinned. She's a fairy. Fairy-skinned. Yeah. Penny is one of the most recent characters. I think she actually is the most recent character addition to the group. Her former character left the party when she found her heart's desire in the Eternal Staircase. And so her new character, Penny, is in the Feywild. And is running away from this purple miasma that is sucking the happiness and joy out of her and all of her people, and is poisoning their land. A Gatling gun for a hand. So you're Barret from Final Fantasy VII. Where does he keep all that ammo? Man, Barret is really cool in Final Fantasy VII Remake. If you've never played or seen a Let's Play of Final Fantasy VII Remake, that's a really cool game, y'all. Almost makes me want to buy a PlayStation. I have nothing against PlayStation except for my budget. Hey, Hey, Amanda. Welcome to the stream. We are painting Penny. And also, if you type any emojis into the chat, they'll show up on top of my face. I think there's plans for it to come out on PC, and Square is pretty good about releasing their games cross-platform too. I got to play a good bit of it. I got to the part where Cloud does the dance-off, like where he dresses up like a lady. I got to that part. A friend of mine let me play on his PlayStation. I essentially made my own PlayStation account, and he let me remote play into it so I could like stream it. Man, that's a cool game. Nice. I didn't see. I wasn't watching the stream. Did they show up? Oh, emojis are so fun and silly. Something has happened to her face. It looks like she has like no eyes. Oh no, I may have to reprint this model. Look at that. It's like... Maybe there's some detail there. Maybe it's just hard to see. So Jordan hasn't responded back yet what colors she wants Penny. So I rolled for it, and we're doing green and orange. What do you guys think? She's kind of got this top, and then like these sleeves that come out from underneath it. So she's got like an undershirt. And I think this top probably goes under the belt and down. So we'll have that one color. We'll have the belt another color, and then the shirt underneath a third color. So the shirt will be like on the shoulders and then in the center there. Which do you think would be best green? Maybe like the green there with orange accents and maybe like a white shirt underneath it? Is a white blouse kind of weird? Or maybe like a green shirt underneath and then this all white and then orange accents on that? She's also wearing like these half leg pant things underneath. Probably the same color as this. She's probably got like a onesie thing underneath and then this on top. I'm thinking green for the main skirt and top, and then orange accents, and then a white shirt underneath. I think that's what I'm going to go with. And I think we're going to go with a dark green. I normally go with the goblin green because it's more yellowy, but I'm thinking this is going to be like, look pretty in blue. Like, what are you thinking in blue? Like the whole gown in blue? You know what we can do? We can pull out all the other minis and see what they look like next to each other. So here's her old character. And here's Mima. And then here's Asha. Here's Shurg. Here's Saphira. Jack. And here, oh, we need to get a mini for Word. We haven't gotten one for him yet. There we go. Orange with blonde hair. So the orange, I think, is going to be more... I was thinking is going to be more in the accents, like around here, like around the sleeves and the belt. And maybe this piece that comes off the back. So I've done this once before with one of my berry wizards. Pull him out. This is actually a little backwards color scheme wise. But this will be the kind of orange. And see how he's got like a little green satchel? Where it kind of looks like, you know, like plants and leaves almost. And he's got like this tan leather armor set. So I was thinking using that color for like her accents and then like that green for the dress. So it almost looked like plant, like flower, not flower petals, but like leaves coming down. I'm going to go ahead and do the green first, and if we don't like it, if it just doesn't look right, we can paint blue on top of it, because that will actually, the blue should actually cover the green pretty well. My initial thought was actually blue, like when I was just thinking, what should we make this? I was actually thinking blue, but then I was like, it'd be more fun if we rolled for it. And then we rolled the green. Let's see how it looks. Thanks for hanging out, Danny. Send us off with an emoji. Give us something to giggle about while you're gone. Oh, I think he's already... Oh, there he goes. Nice. Thanks, Danny. Have a good night. Take care, my friend. I'm not a super fan of this shade of green, but I really love the way that this covers. Like it covers really, really well. Like it really shows the highlight through it. Like that gradient from dark to nice. Like that gradient from dark to light underneath there. Oh man, where did you get the where did you even get that emoji from? Family Man? I guess it's a global one. Why in the world is Guile from Street Fighter the Family Man? I'm not complaining, I'm just genuinely curious. I bet Luke would know. Let's see if we can get up in there. Got a little bit on her finger. If you get a little paint on there, you can just, if you're fast, just get a wet brush and just kind of wash it off. Yeah, I think I got it for the most part. Man, I got it all over her leg. I don't know, this might be a wrong choice because this is almost going to give her like a Tinkerbell look, and I know that that is like not what she was going for. I didn't even think about that until just now. I do like it though. I think that the colors go well together. And then if we do something like this really bright orange, maybe darken it down with just a fuzz of brown. Purple would be pretty too. It's hard to find a good purple color. Hard to find a good blue color too. I'm not in love with it, but it is a color scheme. I mean, I think it looks nice. Especially if we get like some dead white in here. Actually, we're going to need to thin that dead white down a little. looks better in person than it does on camera. Oh, that just straight up dried up. Pale the hair. Yeah, so I mean, this is the base color. Everything's gonna get darker once we wash it, and then it's gonna get lighter when we highlight it and dry brush it. But yeah, the hair is very rich. I think you're definitely right. It does need to be paled down. All right, let's try some. Let's hit the base with some black, and then try some washes on it. I think I'm gonna stick with this color scheme for now, and show Jordan tomorrow. And if she doesn't like it, then we'll repaint it. Because I mean, it's her mini, and she's probably like already even described the character with. You know, at the table even. I just don't remember what it was. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably could have just gone back and watched the video to see what she said. But too late now, I've already painted it. Sorry, goodbye. Okay, so let's... Oh, I even got all these guys out and didn't even do anything with them. Let's do a wash. We're gonna do this wash. Cassandora Yellow on her hair. This is probably the brightest wash that I have. I'll use this one on things like fire. Very, very light things. This is going to give her some warm little shadows. But it's still going to keep it very light. Man, painting small minis goes by so much faster than painting big ones, that's for sure. I've been painting so many big minis lately that it's like, goodness gracious. Like it's only 10:30. Okay, let's get some green wash on her now. We're going to use Biltan Green. Oh, I forgot the back of the belt. There we go. Hello, Extra More. If you are not a bot, welcome to the stream. Not a problem, Brad. Thanks for hanging out. You have a good night. We'll see you later. I'm gonna put some Seraphim Sepia on this orange, just a little to kind of brown it up. Or brown it down, whichever way you prefer. Alright, now let's do some Raglan Flesh Shade for her skin. Maybe this will help out her face a little bit. Yeah, I think something happened to the model. And the details on her eyes just didn't come through. Kind of makes me want to reprint it. Maybe if Jordan doesn't like the way that she turns out, I can just print it again and paint another one and keep this one as like an extra. Okay, now for the white, I'm going to use some Nuln Oil, which is black wash, and I'm going to thin it down a little bit. Normally I thin it with water, so I'm going to try this out. I'm just going to get like a little bit of my flow improver here. Then I'm going to wick up and mix in a little bit of this on here. Let's see how that works. up a little bit. So let's suck that up. I think that worked okay. Well, I kind of messed that up because I was supposed to put black dots first. Well, let's see what we can do with them then. Alright, I'm going to paint some highlights on. So the wash will naturally darken down the skin, like the paint that you put on. So what you can do to put highlights on is you just put that same paint color back on top. And that'll act as your highlight. And you can also lighten it up a little bit, add a little bit more. But I typically like to just do this first. I'm actually going to mix a little bit of dead white with this. Yeah. Hit a little edge highlight. Right along there too. Alright, let's do her hair now. Oh yeah, that's gonna have to lighten up a little. Hey, lighten up a little. Ice! Hello, my friend. How are you doing? And I haven't seen you in a while. Haven't seen you in a coon's age. Isn't that a saying? We're painting a player character tonight, and this is Penelope, one of our newest party members. Also, I did an overhaul on the stream. I'm curious what you think. The cameras should be at 60 FPS. And we added some fun stuff where if you put down emojis, they fly up over my face. Just because I was feeling silly. Yeah, there we go. Makes me happy. We're putting the finishing touches on her. Already got her washed, just doing some highlights. Nice. I'm glad you think so. Because it took a lot of work. I was up till like 4 o'clock in the morning the other day tinkering with it. And I'm pretty pleased with it so far. It's a learning process, you know? They never tell you when you start Twitch streaming, like, all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes to actually make it work and make it happen. Or maybe they do and I just wasn't paying attention, which is probably the case. Well, I hope you've been doing well. I haven't seen you in a while, so every time you come around, you got like some scarcity on you now. When you show up, I'm just like, hey. I remember Ice. One of the first people to ever hop in chat on here. I'm totally planning, like you are actually at the top of the VIP list. Once I get to 50 followers and can actually assign VIPs to people, I plan on making all of the original folks VIPs. I'm not even sure what it does, but as soon as I saw that it was like a thing, I was like, yep, making them all VIPs. I think it gives you more emotes or something, maybe? I don't know. I fiddle with the back end stuff more than the front end stuff. Good busy or bad busy? Hope it's good busy. Oh, good. Yeah, it always goes up and down. Glad it's more so good, though. thanks for watching. I really appreciate the company. Part of the remake, or like the revamping of the stream stuff, I have a little ticker up at the top, up above my picture, like right there. And there's the 50 subscribers, or not subscribers, followers. We're currently at 27, and then whoever the latest one is gets to be like right there, Foregathers. Although Foregathers, I discovered, is actually a bot. I just can't change it because they were the last one to follow. But I just hit, you know, I'm not super jazzed about or super into like growing the channel into something fantastic, but I really am excited. I hit the other day, we hit an average of 3 viewers, which is like one of the big really hard milestones. And if I can get to 50 followers, they'll let me join the affiliate program, which would be kind of neat, because then this could like start to generate a little bit of income, and I could put some money towards minis and maybe a dedicated camera or something. I don't know. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's definitely been a thing. I promise I won't let my average 3 viewers go to my head. But I do like hanging out with folks, and I do like talking D&D, and you know, I'm not fantastic at painting, but I do like to you know, part of my hope is to just kind of like enable folks who are maybe on the fence about minis and painting and whatnot, and just need like an example that it doesn't have to be super fancy crazy to be good, that, you know, with just some modest paint and a little bit of practice, really even not that much practice, that you can get some good table ready minis that'll kind of up your game. Because what I'm doing here may look fancy, it's really not. And I'm not trying to like sell myself short or anything. I mean, I know I've got some artistic talent, but I mean, it's really not fancy. But as long as they're consistent quality and they all fit together, just go for it, man. It really doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, we've talked about it before in the stream. I don't know if I need to, you know, get too much back into it, but 50-cent apple barrel paints, you know, from Walmart is pretty much what I use for the most part, and some $5 Hobby Lobby paint number 8 round paintbrushes. I was actually talking to somebody the other day about my wet palette. They were asking about this wet palette here. Let me paint these highlights real quick and I'll show you. It's totally not necessary. Like, you can use just like a regular paint palette. A wet palette does just make your paints last longer. And it's super easy to make. Like, there's fancy ones that are actually probably really nice, and I should probably buy a wet palette like now that I've kind of really gotten into it. I'm just getting fiddly now. Yeah, so a wet palette it's literally, um, like these are sponges. These are just like kitchen sponges I bought at the dollar store. And I put 2 of them in there side by side and kind of cut them to make them fit. And then I lay a piece of paper towel down. And a lot of people don't do the paper towel. This is baking paper, not wax paper, but baking paper, just like parchment paper. And the water, the idea is that you want to wet the paints from underneath, keep them moist so that they don't dry out. That's pretty much all it is. And so the sponge wicks the water up, and then the parchment paper also wicks the water, but like kind of like if I go like this, my fingers barely damp. It has to be something wet to kind of wick it through. And so the parchment paper works really good to keep your paints from like running all over the place. If you use a paper towel and you put your paints on it, they're gonna like bleed everywhere. It's too much water. But what they say is that you want a fine poured sponge. So like this sponge here, this is just like a kitchen sink sponge. And see how it's got like these big fat pores in it? If you lay the parchment paper along the top, there will be little air bubbles that will form around those little holes, those little pores. And if you have just a little pocket of air underneath there, little air bubble, that part of the parchment paper will actually be dry. And if you put paint on top of it, it won't work very well as a wet palette. So what I did was I put the sponges down, because it's cheap. I didn't want to like search the internet for like small pore sponges. So I put a piece of paper towel over it, and now that sucks up the moisture. Like it goes into the sponge and then into the paper towel, and the paper towel doesn't have those pores, so you get a nice flat even surface where the water goes through. And then I lay the parchment paper on top. I don't know if I like discovered this and it's like some revolutionary thing, or if somebody else has done it way better or whatever, but that's what I do. It's just in three pieces. It's just the sponge and then the paper towel and then the parchment paper, and it works really, really well. And it keeps my paints nice and moist, for the most part. If you want a cheap alternative to a paint handle, I used to use, before I made these are just wooden dowels that I cut in my wood shop, but I would use an empty paint bottle, and I would unscrew it and fill it full of, like, wash it out and fill it full of sand or something else heavy, so it's, you don't even really have to, I just liked how heavy it was. And then put the lid back on, stick you some sticky blue tack on the top, stick your mini on there, and it's just like this nice big heavy mini holder. So if you get paintbrushes, some 50-cent paint, a wet palette, brush holder, a mini holder, that's kind of all you need to start. And then if you want to step your game up a little bit, just get some wash, like some Nuln Oil. That's the generic black wash. Just use that, even on other colored stuff, just till you get used to it. Then you can branch out into other colors. There's actually, it's a very low floor. It's got a high ceiling to painting minis. Like, you can go super duper crazy, but it's a very, very low floor to get into the game. I goofed up on her eyes. I normally do black dot, white dot, black dot, and I just did white dot, so I'm going to be a stupid idiot since I've already messed up. I'm going to try to get a new brush too. I'm going to try, ooh, fancy yellow brush. I'm going to try painting her eyelashes around her eyes, because that's what the first black dot does. Is it simulates the eyelashes. Ooh, that's a nice one. What is this? Fine Touch number 5 round? I must have gotten this in a variety pack or something. Huh? Let's see what happens. Worst thing that can happen is I'll mess up and just have to paint over it again because I was going to have to do that anyway. Paint's drying. I need to do a hand palette. Nope, that's not working. Actually, I may have accidentally just made it okay. Happy accidents, right? Man, her right eye looks great. The left eye now looks like a goobly-gonky, wacky mess. It's way too wet. Yeah, it really is. Getting the eyes to match is a real big struggle. Although what I've been doing, I saw somebody say this online. I'm gonna put it in front of the fan for a second. Called turn the mini upside down and paint the eyes upside down. And that's supposed to help. And it's been helping most of the time, I think. I think it has something to do with drawing on the right side of the brain. Let's see here. Black is starting to dry out. Yeah, so there's a this is like a generic art thing that I learned a long time ago. There's actually a book that talks about it called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And it has to do with tricking your brain. Your brain likes to, well, I don't want to impose my thoughts onto your brain specifically, but in general, the human brain is very efficient with information. It likes to recognize patterns and throw away anything that doesn't make sense. And one of the reasons that that we like focus on faces and eyes is because it's like patterns. Your brain is like looking for a pattern. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Not too bad. Your brain's looking for patterns. It's kind of like why one of the reasons why when you're like sitting in bed staring up at your stucco ceiling or like whatever you're ceiling, you'll often see like faces in the patterns on the ceiling. It's because your brain is constantly trying to look for faces. And but what happened? And so when you're like, so the general principle is that your brain wants to find patterns and then reduce them to as simple of a thing as possible. So, for example, if I were to take this little thing that I was drawing symbols on the other day. So if we were to take something like this, and I would say, draw an eye, or if I would say, hey, draw this face, right? You might have somebody go like this. There's two eyes. Color them in, and then like a nose, like that, and then her smile. She's maybe because she's got like a pointy chin, and like a little bit of hair, something like that, right? So you might do something like that. But that's not what a person looks like. That's not what she looks like. That's what a symbol of her eyes look like. Her eyes are actually like this, and then the pupil connects to it. And so in the book they talk about what they did an experiment where they had a couple people, just random people, draw. They had a picture of a human face. It was like a guy, a profile with glasses, and they said draw him. And like one dude literally did like a big circle with like a dot for the eyes and like a line for the glasses and like a nose off the front. It was like stickman type stuff. It was horrible. And everybody was like, their brain was taking that picture and reducing it into symbols. So like the glasses were round lenses, even though the guy had like rectangular glasses, because they were like glasses, two round pieces of glass with sticks. But they weren't drawing what was actually there. They were just kind of reducing it to symbols. And so, so when your brain like automatically kind of sees that stuff, reduces it down into symbols, and it makes it easy and efficient to store. But if you want to draw realistically, you need to draw what you actually see. So like my glasses are not even rectangles, like they're rounded. Like if I get kind of close, like they're these round shapes. Even though they are wider than they are tall, they're not rectangles, but we would even call them rectangle frames. And like there's like a little swoop down in here. It doesn't go straight across. There's like all of these details. So anyway, so getting back to the eyeball thing, what they did was after the people drew the really bad pictures, they had the photo of the guy. They said turn it upside down and try it again. And everybody's was vastly better. They weren't fantastic, but like people were going from like instead of drawing like a guy's face, like, oh look, we'll put a glasses here and we'll put his nose here and there's his mouth and there's his chin and then here's his hair, right? Here's his ear. Instead of doing like that, when they started going upside down, they were actually like contouring around the guy's face. I'm obviously not copying something, and like took into account like the beard on his face and like they had all of these details because they weren't copying symbols. They didn't recognize an eye. They were actually looking at the line of the shadow around the eye and stuff, and so when you flip the image upside down, your brain doesn't automatically kick into facial recognition mode. It kicks into abstract, like what you're actually seeing mode, And so you can train yourself out of that. So like, you know, really, really good photorealistic artists don't draw everything upside down, but they've just trained themselves to be able to draw what they see, rather than draw the symbols of things they see. And so when somebody mentioned that, oh yeah, turn your mini upside down to paint the eyes, I was like, well, that makes sense, you know, because I mean her eyes are like this, and if you swap it upside down, you know, it's like I know it's a face, but now I can focus on where to put the eyebrow line and connect the pupil to it and make sure that it's balanced and everything like that, and you know, it works pretty well. So that was a very long way of explaining a very short thing, but that's kind of the impetus behind it, and it's been pretty cool that it's been working so far. But it's a very, very old book. It's called Drawing from the Right Side of the Brain. It's been around forever, and like, it's nothing new. It's just one of those. It's one of those things where it's like if you get into one hobby and one interest, there can often be a lot of overlap into other interests. Because I've been doing I've been drawing and doodling since I was a kid, and then I got into I got really big into like pixel art, like doing sprites. I actually started doing it with like Mario Paint on the Super Nintendo, doing pixel art and sprites, and I just loved that so much. And then we ended up getting like an Amiga computer that had like some paint program on it, and I did it on those too. And I could never program. I never could quite get the hang of it. So I never made any games, but I always wanted to. And so I would like make sprite assets for games, and I would like make maps for games and pretend that they were like real actual games and stuff. And I actually, later in life, I actually did get a chance to work with a small little iPhone game company, and got to work with them a little bit doing level design and pixel art. And that's when I learned like color theory and shadows and light and stuff like that. And now that has like that, you know, technique and whatnot has kind of bled over into miniature painting in D&D. Who would have thought? Little boy John would have never thought that his Mario Paint sprite work would benefit a Twitch stream. Man, he would have been terrified at what even a Twitch stream is as a kid. Oh yeah, like blocking out the physiology. Yeah, it all kind of runs together. I'm not super incredibly happy with her face, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Alright, so for the last thing, she's a fairy. Now, she doesn't have any wings, and that is actually an intentional choice. The D&D 5th edition fairies don't have to have wings. They do get a flight speed regardless of if they have wings or not, but they don't have to. They can just be like, what's that one fairy king from that anime? What's that anime called? Seven Deadly Sins, where he just kind of floats around. But she does have like an iridescent glimmer to her. So we're going to do that. And what I like to do, I have this little stuff here. This is an apple barrel paint. It's called Pearlescent White. Now, these metallic colors, I've got like gold and gunmetal gray and silver. These metallic colors don't actually have gold in them. They don't actually have metal. They have like a reflective formica in them. And then they have like just paint. So this is like literally white with, I don't have green in there. What in the world? This is like white with formica in it. And you'll actually notice if you get this stuff and let it sit on your paint palette too much, it'll separate and you'll see all the formica like rise up to the top as this whitish goop, and then like the gray or like whatever color it is will separate out to the side. It's actually kind of neat. But one of the things you can do with this pearlescent white is you can like treat it as a iridescent, like you can iridescently dry brush with it. And I've used it on like magic effects and spell effects and stuff like that to kind of make them look sparkly and iridescent. Actually, I have one right here. So this is a Bigby's hand, and I printed it in clear, so you can kind of see through it. But I printed it in clear, and then I put some washes on it to kind of dye it, and then I dry brushed this iridescent white on it, and so it gives it like this metallic little magic-y shimmer. And so that's what I'm going to do to her. I'm just going to kind of give her a very, very light dusting of pearlescent white. Okay. I think I'm going to need to clean this brush first. Oh, it's 11:09. We are nigh out of time. Gotta hurry up. You know what? I used gunmetal gray on it, which is also iridescent, but like metallic, so I think it's actually going to be fine. Let's risk it. Risk it for the biscuit. Get that big biscuit risk. And let's thin it down a little bit. Just a teeny tiny bit. We'll mix it together with this brush. And this pearlescent, like if you, well, you probably can't see because it's under the chat, but it almost goes transparent. Like it's not a super duper opaque white. So what we'll do is we'll just get all of this iridescent onto her, onto the brush. We'll brush a bunch of it off. We're just going to dust her with it. That's a bit too much. Just coat her in some pixie dust. There we go. It's hard to see on the camera, but there's now like an iridescent, shimmery reflectiveness on her. Nice. All done. And I can get used to doing more of these mini, like these medium-sized minis. It'll take 3 weeks to get finished. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out and chatting. Oh, I still need to fix that double cam. There we go. Hello there. Why, hello there. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? I'm doing fantastic. I think she looks great. It really doesn't look. Honestly, it's gonna get hit by the ring light. It's way too much. Thank you so much for hanging out. I super appreciate you guys hanging out and painting some minis. Our game is going to be here at my house tomorrow. The home game that actually Penelope is in. We have been streaming them. I'm probably going to stream it just because it's here, and they've been enjoying streaming them, and I've been enjoying streaming them. That's going to be tomorrow at, I don't know what time, maybe 6? I think our games are normally like 5:30. Probably start at 6. They're about 3 hours long, 6 to 9, Wednesday night. We've done a couple of them. I've been trying to put them up on YouTube, but YouTube keeps flagging them for like DMCA music stuff because I don't really pay attention much to the kind of music that I play on them. So if you're interested in watching that, come hang out and check them out. They've been pretty fun. And then on Saturday, we're going to be painting some more minis. We're probably going to do Big Boy Shurg. So one of the other players in the home game, his name's Shurg, which is he got his name from the misspelling of the word shrug. But this is Shurg. He's a rune knight, and one of the things he can do is activate one of his runes and like become large. So this is big, large Shurg. So I'm going to paint this guy. My friend Chris, he painted this one. And I'm going to mimic his painting style and paint it over here. So that when he casts large, we can take this one off and go boom, 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 and have Big Boy Shurg up on the scene. So that'll be fun. That's one of the nice things about 3D printing, is that you can just, like, your guy turns invisible. Oh, well, I'm just going to print the model that I already have in clear. And now you have an invisible model for him. Or I'm going to print a bigger one, or a smaller one, or whatever. It's fun stuff. So yeah, probably going to do that Saturday. I do need another monster to paint. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Thanks for coming on, Ice. Thanks to everybody else for watching. We'll see y'all next time. Y'all be good.